shook, he can't talk. Help him with his letters, bro. This could get critical, this could get medical, this could get physical, this could get federal.
I'm just being literal. Killers, I got several.
Ah! Yo, 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 yo. Ah, what the fuck is good? How y'all doing? How y'all feeling? How are you all living, baby? Welcome back to the stream. Welcome back to the stream. Welcome back to the stream. It is so good to see your beautiful faces with me here today on the stream, man. Wow, 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 wow. What do y'all think of the new suit? Be honest. New time. I figured I'd whip out some new shit. I figured I would pull out something y'all haven't seen before. I would feel like I was time to pull something out of the closet. You know, I told you guys, I said, look, one thing I can promise you is that from this day forward, now that I wear suits, I'll never wear the same suit twice. You'll never see me with the same suit twice ever. And so here we are. Here we are. You look like you want to prom tonight. It low-key does. I couldn't tell if I looked like a fancy waiter or if it was prom night or what exactly it was. But man, it feels so good to be back on the stream. Okay. It is a wild day in the market. Wild day in the market. Dare I say there is some resemblance of Trump coin today. Of all days, I do feel some level of resemblance today. Everything is red. SpaceX is green. Liquidity black holes suck right down the middle, and nobody knows what to do. Everyone's bullish. Everyone's bearish. Everyone's got a take. I think most of them suck, but nonetheless, everybody has got a take. So if you're watching on YouTube or Twitter and you would like to chat, twitch.tv/threadguy is the only place that I read the chat. Everywhere else, it's messy, it's ugly, it doesn't look good, it's clunky. I only do it over here. We're an hour early today. We are 1 hour early today. What do you think? You like this time? I mean, we'll see how it goes. What I think about it is we can get into the stream and we can cover a bunch of topics. And then we can get market close price action. And then we can do market close. Like, I feel like we can move slower and more deliberate and more intentional with the stream, catch more trades, have more time with the market open, and it doesn't feel like we need to rush through and get off. And so I like it a lot. We'll see how it goes. So yeah, 4-hour streams. We'll see how it goes. But I think this is going to be a really fun stream today. You know, I was laying in bed last night. And yeah, Friday markets are closed on Friday. I was laying in bed last night and I was just thinking about like my trading journey. And I had this feeling, I'm not particularly religious. I'd say I'm spiritual. I had this feeling as I'm laying in bed, I'm staring at the ceiling, and I had this feeling of wow, maybe everything is really just on schedule. And so I went to a brunch on Saturday with this guy. You all know we read his stuff a lot. I don't want to dox him, but we read his stuff a lot. We read a lot of his articles. He's a really, really, really smart trader, and he runs money. And one of the things he was saying is that, you know, he's an older guy, but he shares very similar views that we share on where markets are headed: retail driven, memetics, narrative driven, flows driven, all of these things. And he runs money. And he's like a TradFi guy. Like, he came from kind of like a Fei Zhao, right? Like, comes from TradFi, is a big DCF, like, you know, traditional fundamentals kind of guy. But he got the crypto education. And what he was saying is that I asked him, like, why are you good? Why are you making money? How are you able to make money in these markets? Like, I know a lot of people are making money, but why are you making money? And what he basically said is that he had his markets education came full circle, where he was trained at like hedge funds and these traditional methods of trading stocks and valuations. But the reason he's really good is because he got the crypto education. He got the crypto education and he was here for meme coin mania and on chain mania and AI season and retard mode and all of this shit. And because he has that like drilled in his brain, he's good. He's really good because he can see the full picture. And most people don't have that education with them. And so I'm laying in bed last night, I'm thinking about it. And I'm like, man, we really spent 5 years full time in crypto. 5 years. No one said, I'm not gonna say his name, but no one said his name yet. 5 years full time in crypto trading garbage. And there's a lot of arguments to be made on whether or not you think crypto is going to come back. I think that it will, and you could argue it is back. You have Hyperliquid at $77 when I woke up this morning. In a lot of aspects, it is back, but it may never come back the way that it was before. And for some people, that's depressing. I understand why that would be depressing. It's very depressing for me when I first thought this. But on the other side, I was thinking about it. And I'm like, man, I'm watching SpaceX last night hit 205 and then 210 and then 215 and then 220, 225. And I'm thinking about it and I'm like, we actually started paying attention to stocks at the exact right moment. We went to crypto. We gained every possible smidget of education and experience and knowledge we could ever gain at the exact right moment during the exact right cycles. And then at the exact time that we got good enough, smart enough, and talented enough, and got enough capital developed to trade other markets started to resemble crypto. And the whole thing sort of is just this like ebb and flow that just like meets in the middle. And I feel uncomfortably prepared for what's coming. And I don't think that I should, not because of how much time I've spent. I feel uncomfortably prepared for these stocks. And there's a bunch of accounts that are like, there's a bunch of these accounts that are like, wow, threadguy is like, eerily correct on a lot of these stocks. And I really haven't made that much money. I haven't made that much money trading stocks at all. But the ideas are there. This is how I think of myself. It's like ideas are incredible, really on point. Like I think the pit has gotten really sharp the last 3 months. I feel like this chat has gotten really sharp the last 3 months. The ideas that come out of here, the way you guys think, the crowd source of information, the signal filtering from noise. I feel like the pit has gotten really, really sharp on ideas. Now the hard part is execution. But I've talked about this before. I have this old coach, pretty terrible guy, really a bad human, but he said some smart things. And one of the smart things he used to say was that you can teach strength, you cannot teach length. Okay? You can teach strength, you cannot teach length. Okay? You can get Victor Wembanyama to gain 50 pounds and to get his bench press up. You can make him stronger, but you cannot make a really strong guy 7'4" with an 8-foot wingspan. You can teach strength, you cannot teach length. And as it relates to markets, I think about it and I'm like, you can teach execution, but you can't teach the trigger pulling, bro. You cannot teach the tingle, you can get better at it. I think you can get better at it, but some people just have it and some people don't. I think some people just have it and some people don't. And the group that has been filtered out to remain in this chat, I feel very strongly has made it through that filter of like, you just pull it. Like the stocks you guys talk about for our little time that we've been trading stocks, the ideas that get proposed in here, the positions that get discussed in here. It's like, yeah, you can't really teach it, I think. I don't know. I think some people just have it, some people just don't. And it feels like SpaceX is this seminal moment where we've been edging to everything trades like crypto and everything's like crypto, but it's happening. It's worth $2 trillion and some change. It's at 233. I think it's worth $3 trillion. It's the fourth most valuable company in the world. And it makes sense to nobody in the traditional market that's never traded Farcoin or never traded AVAX or Solana in a turbo bull run, that never traded Trump coin. It doesn't make sense to a lot of these people, but it makes sense to us. And it just, I don't know, man. It just fires me up. I went to bed last night. I stayed up for a long time just thinking about this, really. I went to bed, thought about it for a long time last night, and it really, really, really fired me up. So we have a lot to talk about. Long live the fucking pit. We have a lot to talk about. We have a lot to cover today. We have a bunch of topics to get into before we get to market close, which is a lot of fun. So forgive me if the flow was a little bit off today. We kind of had like developed a direct flow in how we do stream, and now it's completely all out of whack. If you're watching on YouTube and Twitter and you like to chat, twitch.tv/FarCryMaxi, twitch.tv/threadguy. And on that note, roll call, baby. Far Cry Maxi, what's good? Slink, what's good? Vivid, what's good? Zara, what's good? Caleb, what is good? Jackson Ray, what is good? Crypto DJ Life 69, what's good? Alex, what's good? Starlink, what is good? Jaylet, Squaba, Jesse, Moncock, Maxi, Tingle, thank you for telling me I look good. Simon, NAC, Big Hoodie, Doodle Research. Any first chatters? Kenyon, what is good? Wizard, what is good? High Trade, what is good? Whitey, what's good? Joey, what's good? Low-key Nice, what is good? Pipe Bomb 33, what is good? Molu, Smart Doug, Rockefeller, Drewski, what the fuck is good? All right, I like the new time. We'll see how it goes. We'll see how it plays out. It's probably gonna take a little bit of time to get adjusted to it. So I figure why not start with some AI slop and some World Cup to get us going. I used AI to explain SpaceX to my girlfriend with fruit. I love it.
Reusable rockets? Reusable condoms have a better shot.
Landing a rocket on a barge? In the ocean? Guy can't even land a joke.
This is awful. This is terrible. This is so bad.
Critics say the Falcon 9 landing
I really should start watching stuff before stream.
was a fluke. That's 4 for 4. Someone tell Reddit. NASA's been doing this for 60 years.
Who is that?
And he thinks he'll figure it out in his garage?
Go for staging.
Is that Pete Hegseth? That was Pete Hegseth?
Space internet? Anyone with 2 brain cells knows that's never happening.
Pete mentioned.
God bless Starlink.
A rocket made from steel? Catching a 20-story rocket with chopsticks?
This is a Ponzi scheme with rocket fuel. Good luck investing in that. Elon Musk is now worth more than the GDP of Italy. Italy could not be reached for comment.
Nobody deserves to be a trillionaire just because they built the world's largest.
Wait. Whoa.
Largest space program. I could be using his money to build high-speed rail in California or learning centers in Minneapolis. What's next? A colony on Mars!
Dude, the future's weird. The future is very weird, and it's here. You know, we spent all this time predicting what the world is going to look like, or I don't think anyone predicted the fruit videos. I don't think the Jetsons had brain rot short form fruit videos in mind. Rasmer. Wow. All right, let's pull this. I was gonna pull this up when I got to the market, but Rasmer actually had a mog. I was gonna pull this up later, but he actually had a mog today that was pretty wild. Hold on. Did anyone see? It actually was really good. I gotta give the guy credit. Hold on. Where is it? He actually had 2 really good back-to-back tweets. The first one is MLM doxed his wallet. and it showed minus 120K P&L. And this was what, May 20th, 2026. And every one of the comments is like, Raspberry, you fucking retard. Kaizen, holy fuck, Raspberry, you're retarded. Da 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 da. He quote tweets it today, as I would have done the same. 30 days since he doxed my wallet, plus 372K with a 30-day P&L on Hyperliquid. W's for that. Gotta give him credit on that. W's for that. I cannot lie. Second one is I've seen a lot of these, a lot of this posting. The biggest oil doomer on this app, Calvin, has extreme Alex Jones viewer physiognomy. Genuinely believe this is enough information to blindly take the other side of the trade. I'm short oil, long USA. Calvin. It banked. It actually did bank. So shout out to Raspberry on that. All right, really quick before we get into markets. You'll be sucking dick for groceries, he says. Yeah. Before we get into markets, this is crazy. Is anyone here a soccer fan, World Cup fan? I'm gonna be honest. I think I go through this every 4 years. I don't really understand how big soccer is in the world because none of my friends watch it. None of my friends care. None of my friends. First shout out, Peaky. Give that brother some W's. Welcome. None of my friends care. None of my friends are interested. None of them really pay attention, and so I've paid no attention until Lamine Yamal, Billie Jean, Michael Jackson, the background edits got me really, really, really fired up. And so I pay attention now to soccer. No, TBPN starts earlier. But we're talking about markets, man. But this is unbelievable. So someone tweets this, Ellis, and says, yeah, man, basketball clout actually can't compare to football clout. What do you mean some 40-year-old Cape Verde goalkeeper gained the same amount of followers after a 0-0 draw as basketball's current biggest star? Okay. And so there was this game that happened with this country. I've never even heard of it. Cape Verde. What's the GDP? Cape Verde population. 530,000 people. With a GDP of $3.4 billion. A GDP smaller than the market cap of Snapchat. GDP significantly smaller than the market cap of GME. Played Spain, which has 50 million people, a GDP of 2 trillion, and is I don't know, I think the greatest country at soccer right now. They have the best player in the world. I don't know what the GDP comps mean, but I'm just making the point that it's tiny country. And they played Spain in the first match of the World Cup, and there were all these bets. Like I think this guy in Polymarket bet $1 million on a Spain win to make 68K. Bet $1 million on a win. What's good, Rectal? To make 68K, and they didn't win. They drew, which is like a huge deal. And so I mean, it's crazy. A tie is a big deal, but they drew. And this goalkeeper gained 6.2 million followers, bro, on Instagram just from one game. Think about it. Wemby's been in the league for 3 years. He's from France. He's a global international star. He just played in the NBA Finals, had 5 days of coverage, or 2 weeks of coverage in the finals in New York City against the Knicks in the most well-known American city, and has less followers than this goalkeeper from this random country that played Spain in the first match of the World Cup. And so 2 things. One, I underestimated how big soccer is. And second, IRL, I don't know how many times I could say it, is so back. IRL is so back. They will make infinite online communities. They will make infinite ways to make more money on the internet. They'll make infinite new things to do on the internet. There's only one World Cup, bro. There's only so many World Cups. It's only every 4 years. You can only go every 4. I'm gonna go to a game, by the way. I'm not a fan, but I want to see Lamine Yamal. I want to see Lamine so bad. I want to play that Michael Jackson shit while he's playing. There's only one World Cup every 4 years. Price of it goes up only forever. I really, really, really believe it. So it's pretty unbelievable to follow, and I'm shocked at how big he is. Also, I'm not betting on any of these, but I do have this Polymarket thing. This guy Garden Chest made $764,000 profit in 4 days. World Cup betting. 8 bets, 1-7, 87.5% win rate. Gross. Actually gross. So, anyways. 2 more intro topics. Number 1 is, I don't know if this is always happening, and I just haven't paid that much attention to it because I wasn't streaming and I wasn't doing stream docs and news docs. But it feels like basically once a week, there is some terrorism plot against the White House in DC. Every week, there is one. There's a shooting. There's some terrorism plot. There is some crime being committed of like eat the rich, destroy the White House, burn the whole thing down. And this just came out. The FBI says that foiled an alleged terror plot targeting Sunday's UFC Freedom 250 on the White House South Lawn. Bro, can you fucking imagine during the UFC? We got to watch this really quick.
The FBI this breaking news just into the Fox newsroom. The FBI disrupting this alleged plot targeting the UFC Freedom 250 event at the White House. Officials telling Fox a network of nearly 24 potential plotters were identified, with at least 5 people in custody right now. The suspects allegedly traveled to Fredericksburg, Virginia to make final preparations.
Bro, that's like where I'm from, by the way. Fredericksburg, Virginia. That's like really close to where I'm from.
For the attack. And the alleged plan allegedly included explosive-packed drones hitting buildings near the event, forcing a mass evacuation, and then steering crowds, get this, toward a pre-staged sniper team. A second wave was then planned to storm the White House gate. The FBI first learned of the threat on June 10th and worked with law enforcement across multiple states to stop it. FBI Director Kash Patel saying, quote, "We are built to detect, respond to, and bring to justice those who threaten the lives of American citizens, particularly during large gatherings like the historic UFC 250 fight." That's exactly what we did here. Over 4,300 people were in attendance for UFC 250, which included 1,200 service members. Luckily, nobody was harmed during the FBI's takedown. The event went off without a hit.
So what? These used to be private? Is that the case? I don't understand. We are hearing about, there was that one interview where there was a shooting live. That girl was interviewing someone. There was a shooting live. These used to be private. I don't understand how we're hearing about one. It seems like every week. I don't know if it's aura that they're able to stop all of these plots, or it's scary and minus aura that there's so many that are happening that we know about. But okay, I have a thought for you. And I had this conversation with Tulip King and DNAP and Malcolm the other day. And one of the things we're talking about is I have this take, which is like Democratic primaries where we don't have a clear winner is going to be a knife fight between who is willing to promise more AI regulation. Like who is willing to go further and make more extreme promises on AI regulation. And Tulip King replies, and he says to me, so was the Republican primary. And I'm like, what are you talking about? No. And he's like, what are you talking about? Yes. And we went deep into it a little bit. And what I realized, and I am aware that this is the case, like I'm aware that we live in a bubble, but I think we live in more of a bubble than we fully understand, or at least I live in more of a bubble than I fully understand. And it isn't the case that Republicans like AI and Democrats hate AI. It's actually the case that everybody hates AI except for the super minority percentage of the population that holds risk assets. Basically, if you don't hold risk assets and you don't understand markets and you haven't been trading over the last year or 2 years, I think that your life has gotten significantly worse. We might have to do an IRL trip somewhere. Like, yeah, we might have to go to like the Midwest. I was gonna say the Middle East. We might have to go to the Midwest and rip some poles or something. Kentucky, Iowa. But I'm thinking about this. I think everybody's life has gotten significantly worse over the last 2 years unless you hold assets. And so there's a very small percentage of the population that we pay attention to the most that has all of the money and they love Trump. Politics aside, they love Trump because he's making the markets go up. And then there's everybody else that holds nothing, has no assets, has no exposure to the markets, and they hate Trump because inflation is outpacing wage growth. If they don't have a job, it's impossible to get one. If they do have a job, all they hear about is AI is going to ruin your life. It's going to take your wife. It's going to kill your kids. And they really have no meaningful path forward to improve it. I live in a small town in Missouri. I mean, what are the vibes? I hadn't really considered this. And so I guess a theme that we need to think about, it's far down the line, but we like to buy spot and hold it. A theme that we need to consider is like what happens to markets and what goes up and what goes down when the right and the left are one-upping each other on who can regulate or shit on AI harder in the primaries. I guess basically everything after midterms. I don't know. I hadn't really considered it. Most people in my town don't even think or consider AI. Relatively small town in the Midwest. They're thinking about building data centers in Joplin, which is 30 minutes from me. Everyone hates AI. What is Joplin? Joplin, Missouri? Joplin, Missouri. Joplin, Missouri, population. 54,000. That intro picture was nuts. 54,000. Breaking: the FBI's arrested Ohio man Tyson Proper for allegedly plotting a terrorist attack. Physiognomy lines up. We are known for getting wrecked by a tornado. Wow. Yeah, I hadn't really thought of this, man. That oh wow, they're destroying SpaceX right now. I don't know. I hadn't thought of it. Both sides hate it, and election is going to be a race as to who can regulate it harder. Last but not least, and then I'm going to start talking about SpaceX. Actually, wait, let me pull up a tweet for you real quick. Jay Boltard, really good account. If you don't follow Jay Boltard, yeah, here. I'm pretty sure at this moment, everyone but stock bulls hate Trump. Libs hate him. Many of his own supporters think he's a fraud now, and I'm sure Israel isn't a big fan this morning. Me as an ape who doesn't vote absolutely loves what he's doing for stocks, though. This is probably the take. Let's watch this, and then I want to talk about SpaceX.
But you wouldn't have, if it weren't for the United States of America, with me, because Obama was the opposite, Israel would not exist right now. Israel would have been blown off the face of the earth, 100%. And every smart person in Israel knows that. Okay.
Who like lives? Who is having data centers built around their house right now? And what are the vibes? Quick poll. Does anyone have data center contracts happening near where you live? And what are the vibes? Are people freaking out about this? Is this a thing that's like really happening or no? I live in Fargo, ND. They're building a data center 5 minutes from my house. Got a few going up around, but people don't even know. I mean, my hometown is the data center capital of the world. I'm in NYC, so I guess not. Got a few going up. Most people don't know. Yeah, I thought this was old news. The building on near London. Coinbase just announced parlays for prediction markets. Look at that. DeSantis against data centers. Yeah. Everyone hates them. People are testifying judges to stop it. I live in Montreal, Canada. They're building a couple. China's throwing money at the U.S. data center problems. Georgia. I work in the industry. People are less offended by them. EU side, weirdly. One of my coworkers, they was considering moving to Boise, Idaho to build data centers. Utah's having a problem, but I don't live there. They're doing the storage container thing in SoCal. The position city council meetings and shit. I don't think they're going to do it, but they should. Wow, there's city council meeting. I've never been to a city council meeting. The governor giving, yeah, I mean, it's going to be a huge topic of the elections is subsidies for data center build outs. How much do we hate AI? How anti can we go against it? What can we do? Yeah, it's going to be nuts. All right. Our normal schedule is different now. I kind of like this. So let us get right into what I think is the most important topic of the day, maybe of the entire year. And let us talk about SpaceX. Let's talk about SpaceX. So at current prices, SpaceX is trading at $203.84. It has a market cap of $2.7 trillion. It's hit an all-time high price this morning of 256. Last night on Hyperliquid, it got as high as, how high did it get? It got as high as 230 twice on Hyperliquid. And I think a lot of people are, first of all, I think a lot of people in our chat did well on SpaceX. Did anyone in the chat make money on SpaceX because of our stream and how we've covered it? Because I think I saw quite a few P&Ls get posted in the pit, which was really, really, really cool. Yeah, let's fucking go. Good job. I didn't take any profit. I actually added. And so we'll see how it plays out. But this is probably one of the most significant opportunities, or at least what is one of the most significant trades of the year. Okay. Not because it was your last chance to make money or was the opportunity to make, X gains, but rather I think the way that this plays out is going to be something that we study for a very long time. I think this is something we are going to study and pay attention to for a very, very, very long time. And so let's go through some news, and then I want to spend some time ranting and giving takes. First and foremost, 202 even right now. It's getting destroyed. Who wants to hold into FOMC? Apparently nobody does. First and foremost, if this ends up badly, I would not be surprised to see exchanges start enforcing minimum float requirements on large cap IPO. Thoughts on BMNP? We'll talk about it in a little bit. For reference, SpaceX has 4 to 5% shares tradable, just tapped 3 trillion fully diluted in an overnight session on Hyperliquid. 10 to 20% float is common for other large cap IPOs, though it has been shrinking more recently. All this going into options becoming available tomorrow, giving insiders opportunity to properly hedge retail, to pile into far out of the money calls, weird times. And so we spent a lot of time covering this, that I feel like the crypto people understand the float tokenomics of SpaceX better than really anybody could. Crazy number here. I don't know if this makes you feel gross or if this makes you feel like we're in a new paradigm. But with today's 20% SpaceX pop, Elon made more money today than Warren Buffett has made in his entire career. Think about that. Warren Buffett, often considered the greatest investor of all time. When I was growing up, I've always known Warren Buffett to be the richest person in the world. That's what I've always known. Warren Buffett and like Bill Gates were going band for band my whole life. And you hear Warren Buffett and you just assume greatest investor of all time. Now, I didn't know anything about him. I didn't know his trading style, his approach, how it works. But he made more money in a singular day on paper, unrealized, obviously not liquid, than Warren Buffett made his entire career, which is unbelievable. Now, it's a little bit misleading, but this is the scale of what we're doing right now. I mean, this is the scale of the significance and how absurd the SpaceX IPO has played out. Now, one of the most fascinating things has been the pushback. So there's a very interesting split here, like pie chart of who likes it and who doesn't. The richest of the richest, the VCs and the hedge fund guys, all love SpaceX. They all love SpaceX because they have exposure. The Bill Ackmans of the world, Gavin Bakers of the world, the Brad Gerstners of the world. I would imagine the Leopold Aschenbrenners of the world. The richest guys in the world all like it because they have direct upside. The megapores in relation to Brad Gerstner and Leopold Aschenbrenner, which like small retail, us, me, also seems to like it a lot because we could tap in with they're playing with the right side of the brain. I think we can play with the left side of our brain very well. And we can identify a spot, low float, high FTV, mimetic, reflexivity, whatever. The story just makes sense. The greatest storyteller of all time with maybe the greatest story in the history of stocks. It made sense to us. I think a lot of the left curve guys really liked it. The group in the middle, which I look at as the Substack FinTwit crowd. The Substack FinTwit crowd, Burry would fall under it at the top, upper band. Maybe some of these guys like P4 would fall into it in the lower middle band. And everybody else that this like middle net worth has done very well, FinTwit, runs some small fund, or is a chronic Substack poster, was extremely vocally bearish about this trade. Like extraordinarily vocally bearish. A lot of these guys. A lot of these guys. And, you know, it's basically actually disregard SpaceX isn't like a cryptocurrency. We've gone straight to NFTs is the basic vibe. It was just like a lot of anger, I think. A lot of anger about it. And so I feel like SpaceX was the nail in the coffin for the Benjamin Graham types. We've gone full cryptocurrency for sure. Will SpaceX's valuation hit blank by June 30th? So at current price, this is wrong. It's not updating. At current price, it is 2.6. Let me see if that's right. 2.6 trillion. Let me see. Let's put it's 2.6 trillion. By June 30th, we have 56% chance over 3 trillion, 17 above 3.5, and a 7% chance to hit above 4 trillion. So, all right, before I give you my takes, because I want to go on a little bit of a rant talking about SpaceX and why I think it's so important, I have... It's actually not what I wanted to watch. It is interesting, though. Elon SpaceX office tours from 15 years ago. I want to watch a couple minutes of this Bloomberg podcast thesis on SpaceX coverage, and then I'm going to give you my takes. Let's watch a few minutes to see what TradFi is saying.
Good to see you, Bailey. I feel like we
usual, yeah. It's like I badge in, I badge out.
we are always seeing you, and we're lucky. SpaceX, of course, the largest IPO ever. I'm just curious from your view how you think market
22 hours ago, so it was yesterday.
Participants right now, Dave, should be looking at this in the context not just of other potential IPOs.
This is before it really ripped.
Future, but really in the context of everything we're seeing out there right now, the talk of people taking money from other assets, selling that, getting into SpaceX. Just your view.
Yeah, I think, I mean, first of all, for somebody in the ECM world, what a time to be alive. Like these are great times for the markets. And I think unlike other cycles we've seen where IPO issuance has been extremely active, you have a real catalyst forming investment thesis behind this. This is the reindustrialization of America. We're creating new ecosystems, new economies. I mean, you think about what space could become, what AI could become. These are investment theses that many people haven't been able to invest behind before. And so I think seeing this euphoria in the IPO market is warranted and appropriate.
What's the signal to the market and market participants specifically?
David Bauer, let's give him a look. Nice. No, I don't dye my hair. I think he's lying.
I think right now you're seeing that the IPO worked, and you saw Friday very strong trading with the stock, finishing up 19% from the IPO price. And I think today you see, broader markets rallying on the news with Iran peace treaty, and you're seeing just more enthusiasm coming in. So I think
SpaceX up another 15% today.
Exactly. So I think it's all systems go, to make a pun intended for SpaceX. But I think if there's any hesitancy of should I continue to buy up 20%, I think the answer is yes. And if you look long enough, there's this is a business that could be generationally transformational.
But thinking about the generational transformation, Dave, when I look at the pipeline or the kind of group of companies that could be coming public, they don't look like SpaceX. When you're meeting with people, maybe at your former employer, KKR, talking about something in their portfolio, a number of other private equity firms, what are they looking at? Obviously, this is a big win for IPO buyers, but does that translate to someone who owns, say, software companies or other companies in other industries?
Look, the mega IPOs are getting the headlines right now, but there's been a very active and very accommodative equity market in general throughout this year. And putting SpaceX aside, new issuance volumes are up almost 2x this time from last year. And the vast preponderance of that has been other sectors. So we've seen healthcare coming back. We've seen biotech issuance coming. We're seeing industrial, energy. Also, the markets are working at large.
Aren't all those themes still off of AI in some capacity? If the bottleneck is power and I'm a power company, then I at least have an AI pitch. Because when I look at it or talk to folks, it's kind of like your TAM is either infinite because you have AI behind it, or it's zero because your software, and the worry is that your kind of total market could be at risk. How do you think about kind of other industries and how that fits into that?
Yeah, I don't think the market is shut out for certain issuers. I think it does come down to price and having the right starting point in the public markets. And I think there is a bid for those other businesses. You mentioned sponsor-backed businesses. It's a good time to,
not much
get the
here,
puck on the ice.
Really not much here. I'll give one more minute.
Start it. And, we always say when we're advising our clients and our issuers, proof points in the public market are worth even more than in the private market. And so getting out there, starting it, and you can see how your valuation can expand as you perform. You can get your share price to a level that you might be more interested in selling at, but getting started can be helpful.
What is it about this moment right now, Dave, that is compelling so many of these companies, not just to go public, but also to look into going public?
I want to hear
going
this.
back to sort of the companies that, when they do go public, will become mega cap companies.
And just to tag on to what Tim's saying, opportunistic or fundamentally based?
I think this is a more fundamental based market. And you look back to 2021, which felt a little bit more technical. It was like rates were zero, and so therefore equities were attractive, and you had a very different dynamic that drove that. I think this is much more of a fundamental. I think the market is looking at what the next 3 to 5 years could be, and potentially looking past some of the near-term volatility. And it's not saying they're ignoring downside risk, but I think saying there's certain businesses right now that are very much worth investing in. There's a whole slate of new issuance that is different than the portfolio I've had in the past, and I'm going to take that opportunity to invest in it.
I am thinking though about those
Good take. All right. I want to give some takes. I want to start by reading an article from none other than Sam Lessin, which I think is just so good, unbelievably good. And I have my own perspective I'd like to share, because I've obviously taken a big position. TBD if they walk me out on it, right now. But I want to read this article and we'll go from there. So DCF, discounted cash flows, is no longer the only globally scarce story of value. The internet lets minority belief systems create trillion-dollar markets. For the last few decades, the dominant global story of value has been the DCF. Things are worth the present value of future cash flows. Revenue becomes margin. Margin becomes profit. Profit becomes dividends or buybacks. That is the cleanest, most liquid, most institutionally acceptable story of capitalism. It is still the reserve currency of valuation because the buyer base for that story is almost infinitely deep. But it is not the only story of value. The real lesson of the SpaceX IPO is that the alternative stories of value can now scale to previously impossible size. Not just GME scale, not just crypto scale, trillion-dollar public market scale. The single mass market story of value is dying the same way the mass media died. There is no longer one narrative everyone has to accept. There are capital subcultures, belief networks, and cults of value that can coordinate through the internet, pool conviction, and support enormous valuations around stories that do not reduce neatly to near-term cash flow. SpaceX is the cleanest version of this, yet because there is a futuristic picture to believe in. In fact, they put several of those pictures in their S1, literally and hilariously, inclusive of a $23 trillion TAM, which was so ridiculous that it was brilliant marketing. And in a world where outcomes feel distributed between 0 and infinity, many investors are no longer trying to, quote, beat the market. They are trying not to miss the swerve, especially with retail fears of the permanent underclass. That's all that matters, right? People don't want to just beat the market. They don't want to get stuck in the permanent underclass that we push so hard. People's love of the old capitalist story is low. They do not feel ownership through dividends. Taxes mean they rarely experience profits directly. Good assets at reasonable prices feel psychologically insufficient when the real fear is missing the one thing that bends the curve between normal life and utopia. So yes, If we're going to make someone a trillionaire, people like the aesthetics of it being the rocket guy. I certainly do. But the deeper lesson is this. You no longer need to convince everyone. You need to convince a large enough and growing core of people who love the story, who want to own the story, and believe the story might swerve to infinity. Bitcoin taught us this lesson first. Most well-adjusted smart people said no profits, no value. It missed that internet native belief itself could become a capital formation mechanism. GME was another scoffing moment. SpaceX is the latest, and maybe the most important because it feels like the anti-cult narrative is capitulating. People are starting to accept that monoline capitalism with one universally accepted story of value is over. Will this end well? Who knows? History says probably not. But the post-internet world is genuinely different from the pre-internet world. Inequality, high taxes, fractionalization, regionalization, deglobalization, and internet coordination all point in the same direction. Not all capital is playing the same game anymore. Fukuyama was famously wrong about the end of history. If that meant convergence on liberal democracy, global markets, and 1990s capitalism as the final operating system. But maybe we are reaching the end of modern capitalist history in a different sense. The age of one liquid, universal, DCF-based story on value is ending. The next era is a capitalist multiverse. People holding assets not only for cash flows, but for identity, story, optionality, sovereignty, and the chance, however irrational it may look from the outside, of participating in the swerve to infinity. ... Or we will look back in a few years and this email will look even dumber than what Francis said in the 1990s. Time will tell. What does this sound uncomfortably, eerily similar to? To me, this take that people are going to hold stocks for identity, that people are going to hold stocks for purpose, that people are going to hold stocks for what they could become 10, 20, 30 years, this vision of what it could be 10, 20, 30 years down the line versus what it is right now today. It feels like a Murad post. It feels like a Murad post. It really does. It feels like a Murad post. And I think Sam Lesson articulated this in a way that I would really struggle to because it was very direct. And the story that is playing out with SpaceX is not about the market cap. It is not about the valuation. It's not about the chart. It's not even about the price. It's not even about the broader market. It is that the age of one liquid universal DCF-based story of value is ending. It's that there is no longer one direct framework to value what is the price of a stock and what is the valuation of a company, right? This is something that we, trading alternative emerging assets in crypto over the last couple of years, know very, very, very well. Okay, we know this has been ending, but it's been ending in little pockets. Okay, maybe it ended with sneakers and sports cards, and maybe it ended with Pokemon cards, and maybe it ended with NFTs, and maybe it ended with altcoins, and maybe it ended with meme coins. You could argue that it really ended with Bitcoin for the first time. This idea of a store of value asset that is backed by nothing, produces nothing, is unproductive by nature. It has no value by nature, right? Bitcoin really one-shot a lot of very smart people. A lot of really smart people missed Bitcoin because their DCF, traditional stock brain, was unable to comprehend the value of Bitcoin. And you could compare it to Apple, but it's very different because Bitcoin is inherently worthless. It's inherently worthless unless everybody decides that we're going to value its value different. And it tells a story, and it gets attached to a really good story, and it gets attached at a really good time in a really good place. And it's an entirely new asset class that's memetically driven and flows driven. And nobody knows how to back it, how to value it, what its purpose is, what it's going to trade at. And it just goes up, and it goes up really high. And a lot of people that are really good and smart and talented investors were wrong about Bitcoin, right? Look, I look at a guy like Peter Schiff, and it's like, is Peter Schiff a retard? It's like, no, objectively, no, right? He's made more money than I have. He's in the 0.00001% of investors of all time, and he's done incredibly well. And so why did Peter Schiff is Bitcoin. Well, for the first time, you could argue that we have this new way of valuing things where it isn't the traditional model, where the story is the primary driver, where individual retail traders are determining the flows, right? Before there was ETFs and before there were digital asset treasuries and before there was the TradFi takeover of Bitcoin, it went to $69,000 first, right? It was worth $1 trillion before there was an ETF. And so in many ways, Bitcoin, I think, was the breaking of the idea of cryptocurrency in many ways served a purpose of an alternative thought process, an alternative idea for how to value assets. In many ways, that was the purpose of cryptocurrency, to change how the world thinks about value behind an asset, right? And so you have NFTs, you have the Pokemon card thing, you have Bitcoin, which I think would put it on scale for a lot of people. And then the one that really just smashed the ice through was GME. Because the concept of a short squeeze is not like GME did not like invent the short squeeze, right? I have this topic on the doc today about Volkswagen, and when Volkswagen was the most valuable company in the world for like a day. And so the idea of a short squeeze was not created in 2021 by GME. But the idea of this retail-led, retail-driven, retail flows, utter domination that when coordinated and pushing a concise and well-articulated story and universal belief back an idea that the retail flows can be more dominant than institutional flows, and that what a PE ratio or a DCF or a market cap even means when everybody decides they like this thing or they want this thing to go up is completely thrown out of the window. And so in many ways, you could say, I never thought about it like this really, but in many ways you could think about GME took what crypto introduced to the world and like introduced it to the stock market. And what that allowed since then is like the birth of the crazy AI trade. When you have productivity and a generational narrative, like the God narrative. When you have the God narrative and potentially, the ultimate creation of human, and everybody wants it, and everybody's thinking about not how do they, outperform the stock market, but how do they not get stuck in the permanent underclass. And when you have potential to hit the big one, how do you not miss it? And you combine all these factors together, and all of a sudden the bubble starts getting crazy, and the ratios start expanding, and it starts just like disregarding prior frameworks for how people think these things should trade. And it should act that way. Like, it should act that way. Why would it not act that way? Why would the biggest narrative of all time not have the biggest bubble of all time? Why would things not expand and really push the bounds of what's possible? And that's what the AI trade has been doing over the last like 2 years, 3 years. And then you get SpaceX. And the thing that's so crazy about SpaceX is like, okay, it launches at the perfect time when there's infinite money in the system, when everyone's rich, when everyone has like all the bears have capitulated and they're fully bullish. And it's launched in basically a mechanism that forces all the TradFi players for the first time to open their eyes and realize that Santa Claus is not real, is the best way I could describe it. Because in public, in front of everybody's faces, Elon did what nobody is supposed to be able to do. He finagled the rules, he changed the game, he forced his way into the Russell, and they forced their way into the NASDAQ on day one. They skipped the line, they got the red carpet rolled out, they launched a low float, high FTV, and in many ways made a mockery of the system. In many ways, Elon Musk made a mockery of the New York Stock Exchange, right? Launched this thing with 4% circulating supply, with incentives to force it up so they can unlock tokens after the first earnings, and showed the entire world that Santa Claus isn't real, and that the way that these things trade in many ways is just a social contract agreement that like this level of PE is valuable and this level is extended. He broke all of that and made a mockery of the whole thing, right? Every headline of SpaceX is not revenue growth. It's not they're going to launch this rocket at this time. It's like, no. It's that the market cap is $2 trillion and Elon made more than Warren Buffett's entire career in a day. They made, in any ways, he made a mockery of the whole thing. And what's so ironic about it is the people that made money on SpaceX is the retail. And if you remember, we had this excerpt on our doc from 4 or 5 days ago before it went public, and it was about that woman who was a cashier at this restaurant or at this grocery store, and she had $6,500, and she was trying to get as much money as humanly possible to participate in the SpaceX IPO at $135. And the tweet goes viral because every person in the entire world is like, this is the top, this is the top, this is the top, this is the top. And so you get this like clashing of eras almost of everyone that's retail is like, okay, space exploration, colonization of Mars and rockets and Elon Musk, I'm buying. And then all of the smart, well-renowned TradFi investors are like, but the revenue, but the valuation, the P, it's not right, and the PE, And in many ways, it's like the final boss of everyone has known retail in all markets has had increasing influence and power over markets, but it hasn't flipped the chasm completely. It hasn't flipped over to it's run by retail. And I think in many ways, there's an opportunity here. Look, it might be the top, it might be all over, and this is it. But in many ways, this is like a mimetic final boss where there's an opportunity for retail to just do it and to flip it. And the most entertaining outcome of all time is SpaceX flips NVIDIA. That's the most entertaining outcome of all time, I think, is SpaceX doubles, it flips NVIDIA, and it becomes the most valuable company in the world on air. It might not happen. It might not even come close. And we might have just witnessed the top tick at $230. But even if that was the top tick and SpaceX never trades above $230 again, I think the launch and the plus 50% gain over 2 days basically showed the entire TradFi world that Santa Claus isn't real. Santa Claus isn't real. Retail has, like, today is the least influential retail traders will ever be. It goes up only. It only gets more powerful. Information only gets more democratized. Capital only gets more spread out. And the fact that this thing sold at 135 and traded at 230 at like infinite PE, in many ways to me, like kind of breaks the idea of the system. It's the great cryptification of the world. Just happened. Like it really just happened, and it kind of was beautiful. Like even if that was it, if that was the top tick, and it never trades above $230 again, and everyone goes back on Twitter and they're like, we were right. SpaceX, it was too expensive. It was obviously a top. It completely disregards the fact this thing traded plus 50% in 2 days on air. And so as a crypto native trader, it feels historic that I got to live through this, that I got to trade it, that I even had to have some UPNL on it. It genuinely feels historic, and it feels like the final boss. And so I have a quick story for you. Let me tell you this real quick. Who was Fed chair for Clinton? Greensboro? Alan Greenspan. No, it absolutely is that deep, by the way. Make no mistake about it. It is absolutely that deep. It's the most important thing that's happened in markets in like many years. It is absolutely that deep. Everything about it is that deep. It's deeper than you think. It is absolutely by every metric in every category that deep. Do not try to convince yourself it's not, because it absolutely is. There's a story in 1992 or something, and it's talked about in More Money Than God, where it was basically the moment that the central banks and the United States government realized for the first time that the hedge funds have more power than the banks. And so what happened was the growth of hedge funds had been enormous. In 70s, pretty niche. 80s, they're huge. 90s, there's this explosion. And hedge funds went from trading, being like asset specific to like country specific. to trading everything across all countries. They're in emerging markets, they're in the bonds, they're in equities, they're in everything in between. And Bill Clinton's the president, and he thinks that the US is set up for a healthy growing market. But the problem is inflation is a problem. And so they're trying to figure out, like, what do we do? How do we calm inflation? And so the decision that's made is Alan Greenspan with some Clinton advisors. Yeah, it's under under 198 right now. Alan Greenspan with Clinton advisors basically decide that if we hike rates, we can get yields down and we can calm this inflation. Okay? We can get yields down. People will buy bonds, will get out of risk assets. Yields will come down, inflation will calm, and the market can prosper. And so that's what they do. Is in 1992, they raise rates 50 bips. And what happens is the hedge funds that they don't realize control the markets panic. They sell a fuck ton of bonds. Bond yields go parabolic. And what they tried to solve for got significantly worse. What happened? Well, what happened is the hedge funds that controlled flows in the bond market had exposure to everything across all markets. They had equities. They were holding stocks in other countries. They were holding stocks in other markets. They were exposed to everything. And so Greenspan comes and shakes out of nowhere, binks some 50 bips, shakes up the market. And rather than reacting to what they think should happen, they panic because they're so exposed with so much size to everything. And it isn't they're hiking rates. It's that the bond market is now uncertain. And so they panic and they dump a ton of equity. They dump a ton of bonds and inflation goes absolutely rampant. And it's referenced in this book as the moment the United States of America and the Fed realized that they are less powerful than the hedge funds that control the flows. That was the moment. They realized we are less powerful. We have less money. We have less capital. And the hedge funds control the markets. Michael Steinhardt controls the markets, not us. It was like this. They talk about it as if it was this like the central moment. Markets were never the same. And think about what's happened now. You would think that gold would trade inverse of risk, but the people that hold a fuck ton of gold are the same people that hold a fuck ton of risk. And so if you like dump semis, the guys that are super exposed to semis also have a fuck ton of gold. And so they have to sell their gold to cover the semis. And everything trades like one, right? Think about it. Everything trades like one. Why does everything trade like one? Well, it's because the funds control the market and they're exposed to everything. And so this was like the moment. They maybe didn't fully realize at the time that everything trades like one. And so in many ways, you could like extrapolate an analogy out and you could think about it. And look, it might be tough. It might be tough, but I'm just proposing you a thought experiment. Proposing you a thought experiment that depending on what SpaceX does, and even it might have already done it. It might already be done trading at 230. It is setting the stage for the moment that the hedge funds and the market makers and the market realizes retail is in control. And it sort of did for Bitcoin, and it sort of did for NFTs, and it sort of did for GME, but not on this scale. Not on this scale, not on this size. And it just felt like when I tell you it's that deep, it is that deep. Because the world didn't change when Alan Greenspan hiked rates 50 bips and then yields went parabolic. The world didn't end. It didn't fucking, everything we do didn't break down in that moment. But it set the framework for the future. That it would never be the same. It would never be the same. You could never think about it the same. The cat was out of the box. You could never look at it the same. Everybody holds everything. Gold is trading in tandem with semi stocks. It would never be the same. And in a lot of ways, I look at the way that I think about the stock market and the brain that I come from, which is crypto, and the way that this thing traded plus 50% up when it should not have. And I struggle to think how the entire world could ever look at markets the same, how they could ever put as much emphasis on DCFs and PE ratios the same. How could you? I don't know. How could you? Elon made more money in a day than Buffett's career, And so that's why it's that deep. That's why it's that significant. And if it goes down only from now, were the Bears right and nothing changes, Maybe. But $1.5 trillion IPO went up 50% on Snap Call. On IPO. Feels like a big deal to me. Feels like a big deal to me, man. So that's my monologue. That's my take. That's my take. It's my take. I don't know. I'll give you one more take on it. Is you should, by the way, you should really read this Alan Greenspan story. They were like, they didn't know what was happening. They're freaking out. Clinton's calling him. He's calling guys on Goldman. He's like, what's happening? Why are yields going up? We hiked rates 50 bips out of nowhere. Why are they going up? No one could figure it out. They're like, what's happening? Well, it was the moment. Seminal. That's the word I was looking for. Seminal shift. Markets would never be the same. Everybody would never, markets would never be the same. And so one more take on this, which is what makes SpaceX particularly interesting, but also scary. I'm a big believer in the natural flow of things. If a company is net seller of shares or tokens, the price tends to go down. If it is a net buyer of shares or tokens, it tends to go up. The delta is, of course, attention. If you can spike enough attention into share issuance or token issuance, you can get unfair capital financing, which you can then deploy to tactically pump the price further. See XRP. The question to me is if SpaceX can keep the attention flywheel versus Anthropic or OpenAI, or increasingly some of these crazy Chinese open source models. I'm not sure that is the case. I think about Fable 5x a day since losing it, and I've thought about the data centers in space maybe 1 to 2x, but mostly in the context of, wow, this is an epic pump. And so the bull and bear case for SpaceX at this stage, if you're still a trader in the trade, is that it is in many ways the closest we've ever seen the stock to fart coin ever. It's basically purely reflexivity, because the story of SpaceX as it exists right now has nothing to do with space colonization or rockets. It has everything to do with the mockery of the system. And oh my God, it's so expensive. It's the price. The story is the price. It is the price. Whereas a lot of these were not. Cerebra's story was not the price. Quantinium's story was not the price. Anthropic and OpenAI will be partly the price, but it will not be the price. SpaceX is the price. And so the higher it goes, the more it's the price. And the lower it goes, the more it's the price. It's really good when it goes up. It's really good when it goes down. It gets harder to rebound when it goes down. But if you are able to rebound after it goes down, it gets extremely reflexive. And so that's the bull. In my opinion, that's the bull and the bear case. It's the price. It's the price. It being the price and almost completely detaching from fundamentals makes it very easy to turn your brain off. For people to turn their brain off and collectively slam, it also makes it very hard to justify the prices and keep them propped up. It gets very easy to walk people out. It gets very easy to shake conviction. And it's the price. And so I feel like emotional about it. I don't know. I feel like I can start crying right now just because it's such a cool moment. I think it's such a, I could cry. I actually could. I think it's such a cool moment. I was up a lot of money. I'm not up a lot of money anymore. I think a lot of people in the chat did well. I think we had, there's a lot of reflections on this. First and foremost, the biggest reflection is we knew that there was a floor at 175. I didn't take it seriously enough. Basically, every tick under 175 pre-IPO was a buy, because you knew that there's nothing unlocked on day one, and the 5 out of the 10 trading days prior to the first earnings on an unknown date, but probably early August, if they get it above 175 for 5 of those 10 of the last trading days, 10% of supply gets unlocked. 10%. They're doing it. They're fucking doing it. That was free. I didn't clock it. Nobody else clocked it. But I didn't clock it the way that I should have. Every tick under 175 was a buy. If we want to go back in time, talk special situations, every tick under 175 was a buy. Every tick. And now it's obvious. If it was like 130 right now, maybe it wouldn't have been so obvious. Every tick under 175 was a buy because there was an artificial floor. Nobody took it seriously. Elon took it fucking seriously. Here's one more for you. Stubborn people with premeditated bias getting wrecked for fading momentum. It's been clear for the past 2 years in TradFi that valuations mean nothing. Equal fundamental analysis bros getting hit with an uppercut. It's mostly a meme at this point, while price is driven by narratives rather than logic. I Crypto bros. I believe that crypto might suck. It might be a disaster. It might be a cesspool. It might be full of vermin. And there might be illegal stuff and gross stuff going on. But I believe that your education in cryptocurrency is the most that it was for a reason. And God blessed you by forcing you in crypto instead of stocks. Because you get to come at it with the right mindset, bro. It's like, yeah. I don't know. I feel like crying, dude. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say. I feel like crying. It's like overwhelming. I feel like overwhelming amounts of I don't even know what I feel watching this. And I'm watching it go down. I don't even know what I feel. I just feel like I didn't waste 5 years of my life. I feel like I don't have to rewire my brain to learn what PE ratios matter. I feel like I didn't steer 200 diehards that watch me every day into the wrong direction. I feel like we pivoted at the exact right moment, not a day late, not a day earlier. And the mindset that we bring into it is just very superior. I don't know. This is an important day, man. This was an important day. It might just go down only. It might go down only. And I'm gonna get clowned because I both posted the top. It is beautiful. It is absolutely beautiful, my friends. So before market close, which is uncomfortably soon, I have one more topic that I would like to cover, and then we can get into. Man, this has to be the crypto bottom. Why? Hyperliquid's 97 or 77. It already happened. The bottom. It doesn't have to be anything. It doesn't need to be anything. You had hype at hype is 77 this morning. It's like, why wait for the bottom when you could just, you know? Here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna get up really quick. What made you switch flip bullish on SpaceX? You said it was a faded weeks ago. When we locked in on Wednesday and we learned the actual mechanism. Yeah, that wasn't a helpful answer, but it's the truth. All right, here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna get up really quick. When I come back, I'm gonna talk about Cursor. The price of the price. I want to talk about Cursor, and then we are, yeah, I don't know. Let's go. BRB. There we go. SpaceX trading like copper emu. That was good. All right. Also YouTube gang, if you're watching on YouTube and Twitter and you'd like to chat, twitch.tv/threadguy. Big Elon candle. Did he tweet or no? That's the best part about SpaceX. His tweets are unbelievable. Babes, what's good, bro? Did he tweet? His pinned tweet is a dude. His pinned tweet is a Mark Andreessen Bob. It's just like, bro, he made a fucking mockery of the whole thing. Mockery. Read the first paragraph. All right, fine. Elon's compensation package at SpaceX is structured around 2 targets. The first award vests if the company reaches a valuation of $7.5 trillion and establishes a permanent human colony on Mars of at least 1 million people. The second vests if SpaceX operates data centers in space that draw at least 100 terawatts of power, more than 1,000x the consumption of every data center on Earth combined. Miss both, and Musk earns nothing but the $54,080 salary he has been paid since 2019. I mean, that's one of the best openers I've ever read in my entire life. Can we watch something really quick before market close? This is 15 years old.
Welcome to SpaceX. Here we're in the lobby. It's very white right now, but there are actually some cool elements coming in soon that will make it less white. In the front of the building, we have our engineering offices and space for about 300 people per floor, and we've got a total of about 3 floors that we can open. Right now, only the first floor is occupied. We try to aim for something which is a very open plan to maximize communication and make it sort of fairly nice looking.
Bro, he was running. It's 15 years ago. He's running Tesla.
This place used to be quite dismal. That's my office over there.
Bro, he's the CEO of SpaceX, of Tesla, and he runs Twitter.
There, actually. We really try to minimize the number of
I was never ever seen anything like this.
offices that we have because doors limit communication.
Oh yeah, and Neuralink. He runs Neuralink too. Forgot
Everyone
about
at
that.
the company, with the exception of a few people in like HR and finance, actually.
Oh wait, he also runs Starlink, which is part of SpaceX. He runs XAI, Frontier AI Lab, which is part of SpaceX. He also runs the Boring Company. Oh, they're also building Optimus robots.
are in cubes.
He low-key the greatest human of all time, bro.
Including your vice presidents over there. There's Gwen at her cube.
Oh yeah, he also has like 30 kids and like 7 wives. And he built PayPal.
Although this is
and Elizabeth Warren is like, he doesn't deserve $1 trillion. Suck my fucking dick, Elizabeth Warren.
it's really reality, I guess. I'm responsible for sales. I'm in charge of making sure that there's revenue here in the company. And we're working on lots of Falcon 1 deals, Falcon 9 deals, and Dragon deals.
So it's just a little area where people can meet and have sort of an impromptu meeting. Also very open. I think it's actually quite helpful to have this openness because then you can sort of see what people are working on their computers. Like what Matt McCune here is doing.
I wonder where Matt McCann is now. Where do you think he is? Unclear. McKeon. McCunn. Here he is. SpaceX. Probably just made $1 billion. He's probably done. Here he is. He's probably done. That's it.
What are you working on there?
I'm making a assembly documentation for the Draco.
Okay.
RCS engine.
David is driving the development of our in-space thruster, which is called Draco. There's a little piece of it. Well, actually, that's just a sample spun cone. Yeah.
So, yeah, we're doing all our
testing at our facility down there. Got a new vacuum system, so kind of going back and forth between there, trying to move progress along.
Right, so the Draco engine is what is used in our Dragon spacecraft and also in the upper stage of Falcon 9 for orbital maneuvering and re-entry. This is our meeting room, VIP meeting.
Unbelievable. This was posted 15 years ago. 15 years ago, this was posted. Unbelievable. Like him, I don't know. He's looking the top human. Okay, there's one more thing that they did before we do market close that I think falls under like I don't love the framing of made a mockery, but I kind of think that's what they've done. Broke the system. Is they're acquiring Cursor for $60 billion. Okay. Their entire IPO raise was $85 billion. Now, what is fascinating about the Cursor acquisition is that it is all stock. Okay. Now, the strike price of the stock is not decided yet. The reason the stock price, the strike price of the stock is not decided yet in an all stock transaction to acquire Cursor is that they haven't figured out the price. Okay. And this is how the price is going to work. SpaceX wholly owned subsidiary will merge into Anysphere, with Anysphere surviving as a wholly owned subsidiary of SpaceX. Anysphere shareholders get a number of SpaceX Class A common shares that add up to roughly $60 billion in value, based on SpaceX stock price right before closing. 7-day trading volume weighted average price. And so I might be wrong on this. Correct me if I'm wrong, but from what I understand, the price that Cursor, the amount of shares. Wait, let me word this correctly. Hold on. They're getting $60 billion. But at what valuation of SpaceX is undecided. And so the valuation will be decided by the average price of the first 7 trading days. So the higher SpaceX trades for, the less shares required to get to 60 billion, the less dilution everybody at SpaceX gets. So they are like 60 billion is that's a big number. They are heavily incentivized to trade this thing as high as possible, average, over the 7 days, because it will determine how much dilution needs to happen to SpaceX shareholders to get Cursor their $60 billion. Nuts. All stock. Cursor has 10 million fully diluted shares, $6,000 per Cursor share implied. If SpaceX's 7-day VWAP is 300, each Cursor share equals 20 SpaceX shares. Yeah. It's crazy. It's all stock. And the price is undecided. It's based off how it trades. And so, man, if we knew this, and we knew took the 175 thing more seriously, it's like the easiest. It was one of the easier longs ever. It's all stock. $60 billion, all stock, on a 7-day average of the price. So just mockery of what anyone thought was possible, what anyone thought you could do. Not half cash, half stock, all stock. What does Cursor do? I don't even really really know how you would describe what they do. I used to use it as, but they don't have a model though, right? Like it wraps. I used to use it as a front end to use like codecs and shit. Okay, they have their own model now. I was using it like before Claude Code, but I haven't used it in a long time. They're making their own model. Got it. They have Composer 2.5. How good is it? Before they wrapped Kimmy. I see. How good is it? They were so early, man. Let's actually ask ChatGPT, and then we'll get into market close. Good Alexander talked about it on streaming to me. How good is Cursor latest model? Damn. Yeah. Briefly, okay. Good, but clearly not the best. Okay. So it's not that good, but it's something. It's something. You need to lock in an AITG is moving fast. Bro. Dude, I'm like deeply upset I never got to use Mythos, by the way. I love the baby blue suit. Thank you, brother. I'm like so distraught that I never got to use Mythos. Deeply, deeply, deeply upset about it. All right. All right. All right. All right. All right. I look down at my screen, and as I look down at my screen, I get a time read that reads 4:08 p.m. EST. Now, what does that mean? It means a lot of things. It means that I have gym in a couple hours. It means that I will go to bed in like 8 hours. It means that I've been streaming for 1 hour, 30 minutes, and 43 seconds. It means that I'm a little bit closer to reading my book. It means that 9 minutes ago, the market. You already know what I want. 2. No, what do you buy? What do you sell? What did you make money on? What did you lose money on? What would you like to enter? What would you like to exit? What do you hate? What do you like? What do you fucking hate? What do you like? What do you hate? What do you like? I need tickers, tickers, tickers. Say it out loud. Get it called out and live with glory for the rest of your life for being right or be named and shamed until the day you die. But man, if you don't play, that's name and shame within itself. Long the dollar, long hype. SpaceX puts today. Long USDC into FOMO tomorrow. Nice. Short and near this morning. Long SpaceX. Minimax. Nice. Remind me to look at Minimax. SPX long because fuck it. Max went long at 200. Talk about possible Tesla SpaceX merger. Okay. Slurping the dip on bot. Yes, I can. I'm bullish on Brent oil. It's not bullish on you. Short ETH, long height. That's a nice trade. Long GME. Short, long MP. Hype in SpaceX. That's beautiful. Railgun. Ugh. Long gold. Preparing for Uber and Hims long. I kind of hate Uber. I'll tell you why. AMC up. Yes, it is. BMNR Pinot. Nebius on HL. Added Marvell. The CEO didn't. The CEO did not add Marvell today. Looking for entry on AAOI, AMD, Peng, Nebius, SpaceX. Those are my positions. Velo and Astro. Long MP. What's MP? Bought cards. Chunky nuts. Nice. Apple for local AI. I wish there was a better way to do it, but I can't say that I hate it, my friend. I cannot say that I hate it. Any others? Any others? Any others? Watching asteroids Elon could mention along SpaceX. Short BTC, long copper, added world coin, short Oracle, long world up 40%. Chat, before I look at the SPX and we get started, do you like or dislike the earlier time? I think I like it more. We got a lot done before the market close. We got a lot done. Perfect. All right. On that note, the stock market. I sound like I'm the stock market is officially open. All right. Wake your ass up. All right, look. First and foremost, the SPX comes in down 0.57% at $7,511.34 on the SPX. It was an ugly close, and there's an ugly gap there to maybe be filled. Ugly. I have a theory. I have a couple theories. There's a couple reasons why this could be happening. It's like one day down 0.5%. Everyone's like, oh my God, what? NASDAQ down 1.66. This is the real story. NASDAQ 100. Is that a double top? I don't know, but ugly, ugly, ugly on the NASDAQ. The Dow up 0.64. Q's down 2%. Also look very double toppy. The SOX down 6. IGV down 1.4 and IBB down 0.44. So I think two things happened today. Number one, what's good, Mando? Number one is there was very clearly a SpaceX liquidity suck. Because we are about to look, I know we're going to look at Stretch in a second. We're about to look at big tech as well. There was a rotation there was a suck out of everything into maybe SpaceX, which is still green, although had a pretty nasty close. But we also have FOMC tomorrow. Kevin Warsh, first FOMC, which we're going to actually watch on the stream. Now that we start an hour early, we can actually watch Kevin Warsh. And I haven't really been like conscious for that many FOMCs, but it does feel like there was some substantial de-risking going on into. Did anyone sell into FOMC tomorrow? Into FOMC tomorrow, as people don't really know what to expect because it definitely wasn't war. It definitely wasn't war because crude oil is the lowest it's been since March 10th, down 5%, and it is at 76.71 a barrel. Brent oil down 4.18%. Lowest price since March 3rd. 79.145 a barrel. I think it's the cherry on top for oil bulls having one of the worst trades ever, really, ever, like of all time. I feel bad for him because it was a good idea, but you don't get paid for good ideas. That's not how this works. I mean, one of the worst trades ever, really. I genuinely feel for him, but you don't get paid for good ideas. And not how this works. So we'll come back to oil. Crypto, Bitcoin is down about 1% on the day, 65.7. It looks fine, but I'm uninterested. Super uninterested in Bitcoin still. Hyperliquid monster day. It made a new all-time high. I woke up this morning at $77. I almost couldn't believe it. On the top tick, Coinbase came out and announced tokenized stocks program, which I don't know. Is that responsible for the pullback? Maybe, maybe not. But is notable nonetheless. Hyperliquid looks unbelievable, really. Volume is crazy. It's crazy they gave us a chance to buy Hyperliquid at $52 2 days before SpaceX IPO, which was going to happen on a Friday before the weekend, where it was going to get probably the most volume of any stock ever on Hyperliquid, which I believe that it did a couple months before Anthropic and OpenAI IPOs. Really. Look at this. Gave you like a 47% move. And I bought it on Friday and I fucking sold it like a little bitch. Sold it like a bitch on Friday. So Hyperliquid, Zcash 500. I'm still uninterested in Zeke. I'm happy I didn't chase it yesterday. I really thought about it, but I didn't chase it yesterday. Down 4% today. ETH is flat. We'll talk about Tom. I guess we'll talk about Tom Lee today, which is unfortunate. Near down 2%. Perdad is up 8. Solana is flat. Is anyone flipping bullish on Solana here? Very curious if there's any Solana bulls. I said yesterday I'm down to stop hating on it, but what it's going to take for me to actually buy it is very unknown. And then Monero, which is still on the list, is up 0.5%. VV is also up 3%. All right. What do we do about this? What do we do about this? Stretch. 91.79. What now? I don't even, I don't know. They got to raise the rates, I guess. Now, I don't even know what happens with Stretch. What I do know is that the videos, the AI slop videos they have put out look really, really, really bad.
I live.
Here you go. Yeah, there you go, Mando. Thanks. I was looking for this. Stretch is at 91.
Are you on vacation here?
I live here. I'm retired. I just don't think I'm meant to live an uncomfortable life.
Wow. How did you make it?
I worked hard as an engineer to save money. Again. Then I put my savings into Stretch.
What is Stretch?
Stretch is a stock. Right now I get about 11% a year in dividends. Nice.
It's the stretch, yeah, the stretch. 11% monthly cash dividends, tax deferred.
Are you on vacation here?
You know, I started the stream by saying fuck Elizabeth Warren, but I understand her sometimes. I do. And so here's one more, I guess.
So it's an equity, first of all, right? It is a preferred equity, right? It's not debt, and it's definitely not a money market, even though some people are using it in place of a money market. It's definitely not that, right? And so although it's designed...
Once in a while, when I look at crypto through the right lens for long enough, I think to myself, Peter Schiff, it's not that bad. He's got a point.
To trade within a tight window of par 99 to 101. There'll be times when it doesn't. And here, I'll give you an interesting stat, right? Total shareholder return. Bitcoin, from October when it started decreasing to now, is down 50%. That's the TSR of Bitcoin. The TSR of Stretch.
I don't even want to watch this. We're gonna have to just see what happens with Stretch, but it looks horrific. That is terrifying. Yields on bonds are across the board down, which is very nice. All right, metals, Chads. First and foremost, silver is back above $70. Number one. Number two, gold up 0.57%. One of my favorite traders is in gold. I'll let him show himself if he decides he wants to, but look, I think it looks pretty fucking bad on my chart. Mando on gold. Okay, yeah, it's Mando. I think it looks terrible. He's trying to convince me to buy some gold. I might have to do it, but God, Mando, that thing looks fucking horrid. And last but not least, copper Chads, which it seems it's going to make it into my level here. Look, very interesting. Now, I always talk about the copper Chads, but I'm yet to be one. But it does look interesting. Very, 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 very interesting on copper. Ansem Souls basically flat. And dollar down 0.1%. All right, moving on. Defense is all green except for Palantir, which looks like it wants to lose the Trump show level, which is a significant level to get lost. All right, here's the story of the day. Big tech, big semis, big AI, the stuff that we actually care about. Biggest gainer is Sive up 7%. The real biggest gainer is SpaceX. It closes at 101.68, which is plus 5%. Down 0.5% after hours, but it was as high as 225 top tick this morning on SpaceX. I bought 205. And I bought 215. No, I don't get out. I just add higher. I buy. I don't sell anything. I think my average on SpaceX is 186. 186 is my average on SpaceX. And I am sitting in it. I think we have a combination of like the scary liquidity suck with SpaceX. And then we have Warsh tomorrow. Now, the first segment we're going to do once we get off the market close is we're going to talk about Warsh because I think it's going to matter. I mean, look, I'm pretty macro. 186.70 average is what you have. Thanks. I'm pretty macro, like mock those guys, but it does seem like it's going to matter tomorrow. Bloom Energy is green. Meta is green. Google is green. Apple is green. And IBM is green 1%. Outside of that, you basically have a wipe across the board. RoboStrategy's down 15. Marvell's down 10. Gross. Space, Redwire, gross. Intel down 9, AMD down 8, Firefly down 7, Micron down 6, ASTS down 6, SPCE down 6, SanDisk down 5.5, ASML down 5, AOSL down 5, Broadcom down 5 and looks terrible. Rocket Lab 4, Netflix 4, QCOM 3, NVIDIA 2.5, Oracle 2.5, Tesla 1.5. Everything is down a lot. And I can't help but say it. I don't know. When Trump coin launched and it just sucked every dollar out of everything and it went up really high and then everything else got destroyed. Is it a fair comp in this moment? Maybe. Maybe. Kind of feels like it. Now, Trump coin did go up only for 3 days. Up only. Did that also happen? Yeah, it did. But Melania happened 3 days after. Anthropic isn't going to happen for a while. But regardless, it feels very familiar to what happened on Trump coin, at least so far. All right. Some of our more consumer, neo clouds, everything in between. Biggest gainer, AMC, which has actually turned into a really good trade for me. Pretty crazy. Should have bought some options, I suppose. It's up 27% since I bought. And I believe the Odyssey is out like really soon. Does anyone have AMC here? Or is it literally just me? When is it in theaters? July 17th. July 17th. So, I don't know. Interesting. We'll see what happens. But that's biggest gainer. Second, Roblox is up a lot. And also, Take-Two Interactive is up a lot. Him's up 4%, SoFi up 4%, Sweetgreen up 4%. Open Door, Nebius up 2%, made a new all-time high. Is that technically all-time high? Not quite. Carvana up 1.5%, Airbnb up 1.6%. Biggest losers, Snapchat down 9%. MicroStrategy down 7%. And man, that thing looks like ready to just absolutely die. It wants to die. Rivian down 4.5%. Circle down 4.5%. Reddit down 3.5%. Figma down 3%. I ran down 3%. Texas Instruments. This is such a funny chart. So funny. So hilarious. And Enhanced Games down 2%. All right, altcoin. iRoll Entertainment. Nothing super. Substack is what I wanted to show. Flat on the day. Still up 9% from where I bought. Altcoins. Biggest gainer. Uniswap up 14%. Aerodrome up 11%. Kinetic is up a good amount. Jito looks really good. Really good. Substack, really? Oh, StubHub. Sorry. Farcoin up 7%. Lighter up 5%. And nothing really else super important. Pump Fund down 2.5%. And man, Elon, I'm open to it, but I'm getting antsy, man. If you want me to turn you into a Pokemon gambling company, I'm open to it, but I'm getting antsy, Elon. I'm absolutely getting antsy. All right, let's check in on our pro traders. Loracle. All-time P&L is basically the same, 2.3 million right now. It's up 5.5 on Zeke, up 1/4 on Hype, up half on Near, up 1.5 million in WorldCoin. Down 300 on Aster, up 100 on Monero, and up 22K on a Tesla short. Did you talk about why you don't like Uber yet? Sure. And then Garrett Bullish down 13 mil on Bitcoin, up 2.8 on Zcash. We should actually add Uber to this chart, huh? My bad. Let's add it. All right, the reason I don't like Uber is I watched this. I got bullish on it kind of recently. So I watched this really good YouTube video, and the thesis was basically Uber. A lot of people are bearish Uber because they're not going to be able to build the, what do they call them? Automatic. What do they call the automatic cars? They call them not FSD. What do they call them? They call them like AVs or something. AVs. Yeah. AVs. They're not going to build AVs. They're not going to manufacture them. And so Uber is like the distribution network. And so a lot of people were bearish on Uber because they're not going to build AVs. But I watched this, yeah, autonomous vehicles, got it. But I watched this bull case, which basically says, okay, look, the thing about AVs is everyone's going to build them. They're going to be really commoditized. And so right now it's Waymo, Tesla a little bit, but it's going to be super commoditized. And so the only mode is going to be pricing and distribution. And there's going to be so many of them that everyone's just going to go to Uber and they're just going to plug into the Uber app. And what's going to happen is that while Uber is going to get really bad splits, 80-20, 70-30 if they're lucky, they save a lot of money because Uber pays for the car insurance of the drivers and they also pay a lot for the drivers. And so what they lose on bad splits, they will gain on margins, and it will make the company look significantly more attractive as a growth story, and Uber's going to go really high. I felt like that was invalidated the second that I saw this. It kind of makes sense, but it's kind of cope because I saw this and Waymo announces introducing Waymo Premier. As we scale and bring our fully autonomous ride-hailing service to get more people across the globe, we continue to refine the Waymo experience to deliver more for our riders. And so they're fully locking in on the Waymo app. So my thought is like, okay, if you're Waymo, instead of giving 20% of your profits to 30% of your profits to Uber, why would you not just spend that 30% on subsidies for like free cheap rides and convince people to use your app? Right? Why would you not spend all of the money just subsidizing rides and on incentives to get people on your app? And so when I thought about it from that perspective, I'm like, dude, I think the Uber like moat story is kind of cope. I think it's kind of cope. Now, the other side of it is, yeah, I agree with you. Uber has become a verb. Let's Uber there. Let's Uber there. Let's Uber there. Usually when you become a verb, you win. What's the poly market? Or make a poly market for it. But I don't know. I think, you know why I think it's invalidated? I'll tell you why. I'll give you a better take. Is what's that new Uber that's like cheap? New Uber that's cheap. What's it called? What's it called? Is it Empower? Yeah, Empower. Anyone here know what Empower is? Yeah. It's a cheaper Uber and everyone's got the app, bro. Everyone's using it. Like a lot of people are on it. It's super cheap. Everyone's on it. Everyone's whip is on Empower. And so it proves the thesis that people are down to download a new app if it's cheap for the rides. They don't care. If it's cheap, they'll move. Everyone already has Uber, but everybody's about to get Empower. Yeah, what are the economics of Empower? What are the economics of Empower? So if you're Waymo, spend the 30% split on subsidies, make the rides really cheap, convince everyone to download your app, and then just pull it away. There's no brand loyalty. I don't got brand loyalty on what fucking rideshare app I use. I don't even want to be in the car anyways. Okay. Whoa. The driver pays a subscription fee. Huh. Okay, an Uber. Ride fare, platform takes 20 to 40% plus fees, surcharges, insurance, compliance. Driver gets the rest. And Empower, rider fare. Driver keeps most of all of the fare. Driver pays Empower subscription software fee. So there's no take per ride. Drivers set prices. Less insurance. Whoa. Driver SaaS model. Whoa. What is the fee for drivers on Empower? I did not know this. Empower ride service valuation. Excuse me, $8 million valuation. Wow. It's earned 200 M. No, they don't have AV. No way. No way. No way. Wow, dude. It's like $30 $16 a week or 30 a month. In DC, it's expensive. Huh. See, if you're Uber, like, what's your moat, bro? Watching this get successful makes me think people will just slut out any rideshare for price. They don't give a fuck. They'll do anything. They just want price. I mean, look, at this point, I won't. I just use Uber. I'm not gonna download a new app for like 5% cheaper. You're not gonna get me. But for like 15% cheaper, yeah, I probably would, bro. Also, if you could get me an Uber Black that would guarantee never be a Rivian or never be a Tesla, I would pay way more. Way more. If I could check a box on what car is picking up, pay way more. Way more. All right. Here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna get up real quick one more time. We gotta get right into Warsh. Right into Warsh. We got a lot to cover still. A lot to cover. I'll be right back in 30 seconds. When I'm back, we got Kevin Warsh, baby. You know I'm playing all these old songs. You really want to know? Because I'll tell you. So the stock market right now is January 1998. That's why. You know what happens next? After January 1998. You know what that is on the chart? You know what that is? Right here. 1998. You know what happens next? Yeah. Imagine that SPX went up 69.5% in 1 year. You know what? Can you imagine it went up 69% in a year? Dude, that would be like from right here, 69%, bro. It'd be 13,000 SPX. Unbelievable. Anyways, all right, we got a bunch of topics. Let's go. Let's start here. Kevin Warsh is tomorrow, and so the consensus has basically been. Then it's 9/11. Jesus, the consensus has basically been that inflation's out of control. Warsh is going to come in and he's going to hike the fuck out of rates. That seems to be the most likely outcome, or at least the predicted outcome leading up to this. Now, if he doesn't do that, and dare I say comes in a little dovish, the asymmetric trade right now may be dovish. If rate hikes do not materialize, SOFR has to price them out. Even if Fed simply stays flat, that becomes a passive easing impulse. The point is not that cuts must arrive immediately. Is that max hawkishness may already be in the price with 2 hikes. It's interesting, man. It's very interesting. Also, we're done with forward guidance. And so he might just come out and say more in his, he might just be more open about how he's feeling. Say more in his speech. He might like let more fly, be more candid, let more slip. And so there's definitely some great uncertainty coming into the Warsh meeting tomorrow. Wait, where are we right now? June 17th. So current target rate is right now we're 350, 375. Prediction tomorrow is absolutely flat, nothing. July, they're saying like a 9% chance for a hike. September, there's like 28%. October, there's like 33%. December, it's like 42%. And then January, 42% as well. There's also a thought here, which is like, okay, CPI came in pretty bad. It was like 4% or 4.2% or something like this. But oil off a cliff, WTI off a cliff. And so the question becomes, did oil fall off a cliff fast enough to save inflation and save us on hikes? Maybe. Would you long oil here? I will never long oil. So I have like a quick HREC video. I think it's pretty fun.
Kevin Warsh.
But there's a thought like maybe it happened in time to save inflation.
How screwed is Kevin Warsh? Oh, dude, the inflation report today. He's
this is a couple days old.
Rocking a hard place. I mean, look, Kevin Warsh, this guy about to start taking over for Jerome Powell, chairman of the
promise not to mention oil and war for minimum 4 streams.
Federal Reserve. His mandate is not dual. He has a single mandate, and it comes from Daddy Trump. Cut interest rates. But the problem is, you can't do that when inflation is surging. You just can't do it because cutting interest rates makes inflation worse. Inflation is bad now, dude. I think it broke 4% today. 4.2. It's back, dude. Somehow Palpatine returned. It was shrinking, and it's fucking back. And if it follows the 1970s parallel, it's going to go up against the double peak. This is what happened. They thought they beat it in the 70s, came right back, surged. Then they had to cut. Then they had to raise interest rates to like 20%. They can't do that again. Obviously, our debt levels are too high. But back then, they had to raise interest to 20%. Fucking Volcker had to fucking crush the back of inflation.
Yeah, but now that the war is over, you're right.
This is bad. The reason it's rising so fast is obviously gas prices. Energy is a huge component of this.
So we just fixed gas prices. Chat, where you live, is gas prices down today? Does anyone go to the gas station today?
CPI, and it's rising really fast, which is why Trump said, "I love inflation" today. He had a little spiel.
I'm saying America. I will. Are you concerned, Mr. President, about the latest inflation number which came out this morning? Could that be a
No,
headwind
I love it.
for
The
Republicans
numbers
to
look great.
try and
You know what I
hold
really
the
love?
Senate?
I love the inflation. You know why?
Right off the bat, I feel like the GOAT's lost his head, bro. I feel like you just can't get caught saying, I love the inflation in this time.
Okay. Okay.
Politically, but.
Because as soon as this works.
Oh, he meant sonic inflation. You're right.
You know, I can say it now. Something you didn't know. Do you know we've been taking out
Now I'm
millions of
talking
barrels of oil? Nobody knows it. You know who doesn't know about it? Iran until right now.
Uh-huh.
We took out the other night 22 ships late at night with no lights because they don't have any radar because we blasted the crap out of it.
So he's making the claim that he's not worried about inflation because he's been sneaking oil out of the Strait of Hormuz and nobody knows about it, especially not Iran. I'm skeptical, but I understand that even if that were true, gas prices are still going up. So it's like if that were true, why isn't it working? If you're getting all the oil out, why is there no supply? So I don't know. But I think inflation rising is obviously energy is a huge component of it, but that's not the only component. Inflation was rising before that. Yeah, it hasn't been broken. And so, yeah, I think Kevin Warsh is in a really tough spot. Kevin Warsh would love to cut and make Trump happy. And if the first thing he does is not cut, Trump will be miffed. But if the first thing he does is raise rates, Trump will be apoplectic, dude. A vein will burst out of his neck. If the first thing he does is raise rates, he's going to be calling him worse names than he ever called Jerome Powell. He's going to be investigating it. It's going to be crazy. And what's funny is like once he's in, which he's now in, he's in for years, bro. His term is a while. 4 years for central banker? Yeah, he's in, bro. Time for the shadow chair to rise. Well, you don't even need the shadow chair. What I'm saying is like, there's a certain amount of leeway you get as the central banker, as the chairman of the Federal Reserve. You could make an argument that, hey, you know what? This oil inflation is temporary and we're seeing yada, yada, yada. There's weakness in the job market. We gotta cut rates. Well, you just can't do that anymore because the job market headline numbers are good and the inflation numbers are horrible and you just can't cut rates into them.
How long is this term? Wow. 4 years. So that's Warsh tomorrow. I don't know. I'm optimistic, man. I think he's the most. I think he might be the most competent person in all of government. I guess he's not technically in government. In all, I don't know. In all of admin associated parties, other than Besant, I think he's really competent, and I'm a big Warsh fan. I am. I'm a big Warsh fan. I think he really knows what the fuck's going on. I think he sort of just got bailed out with, can you make SpaceX go up again? Brother, you were buying with us 175. You'd be like, let it go down a little bit lower. I'm up too much. That's what you'd be saying. You'd be like, threadguy, I'm up too much. I'm up too much. You got to buy 175. Profits too extreme. Make it go down a little bit. Warsh from the Epstein files. Is that true? Kevin Warsh, Epstein files. I don't think like in a serious way. He was mentioned once. He was emailed on guest list for St. Bart's Christmas 2010. Showed no evidence he attended the events or met Epstein. He didn't go. He didn't even go, bro. Such list inclusions are common among public figures and do not imply wrongdoing. Inquiry. Senator Elizabeth Warren, Democrat in Massachusetts, pressed Warsh on the extent of his interaction with Epstein, his travel to St. Bart's in 2010. He addressed the inquiries in written correspondence with the Senate Banking Committee. He confirmed he vacationed in St. Bartholomew in December 2010, but stated he did not attend events organized by Epstein or Ghislaine Maxwell and was not aware of being in their presence. Interesting, Kevin Warsh. Also, yes, St. Bart's is not Epstein Island, dog. It's not Little St. James. It's a completely different thing. That's unfair. It's like, oh, he was in fucking Florida and like Epstein was also in Florida. That's my fucking Fed chair, man. Be careful. Please be careful. I implore you to be careful. All right, let's just switch it up. And let's talk about something else I think is exciting.
Look,
let's
I
get
think
all the market stuff out of the way. Who's doing Hyperliquid right now? It's the story in crypto. It's the story. They had a record 8.4% share of the aggregate perp open interest for centralized exchanges, which is unbelievable. And there is this really cool 2 clips of the CFTC chair on Hyperliquid. I want to watch. I don't watch anything on my own time. I save it for stream. I want to watch both of them. Let's watch both.
I think on-chain technology.
I think it's on Bankless.
Technology, whether it's Hyperliquid or any of these on-chain markets, is something that is going to, as I said, transform our markets. And we're already seeing the global nature of blockchain technology transform the way that we're transacting here in the US, the way that our markets are functioning. 24/7 is also something that we greenlit. We've had this in our crypto markets and prediction markets for some time now, but we just put out some guidance on 24/7 because exchanges are ready for it.
David Hoffman's Sunrun right now, by the way. Not proud of it, man, enough to say it. Sunrun.
They're excited about it. And I think that is really driven by blockchain technology, by perpetuals that are accessible 24/7, 365. When you're looking at these on-chain markets, whether it's perpetuals or other types of derivatives markets that are on-chain, there are different considerations for on-chain markets. Certainly, some things are automated, and smart contracts solve a lot of the things that our rules are designed to force. But you do have considerations. We've seen these auto deleveraging mechanisms cause some cascades of liquidations and really.
All right, let's watch the recent clip. This.
We're always going to fear the future.
It's from yesterday.
Well, incumbents are always going to fear the future, but we're looking forward. We saw this product flourishing offshore. The product has been around for a very long time. We've also had very similar products, perpetual style contracts listed here in the U.S. for just about a year now, and it's time to approve regulated futures contracts that have no expiration date. These are perpetual futures contracts. They trade very similarly to other types of contracts within our markets, but of course they don't expire, and that's good for investors in many cases. They don't have to roll their positions, and we're going to make sure the product's available, but it's well regulated here in the U.S. Well, incumbents are always going to fear the future, but we're...
Price action aside, and crypto won. I don't know what else to say. Crypto undeniably won. And so the follow-up announcement that just came with that is Coinbase came out and they announced that, here we go. Let's just watch the video. Let's watch some videos. One of the things that is, I don't know, is this responsible for Hyperliquid PA going down? Maybe, maybe not. But one of the things that's fascinating, and I think going to contribute to my open monologue about we've crossed the chasm where retail, everything just like is in control. The way people think about markets is we take that GME Bitcoin breakthroughs and apply it to everything. Is that every exchange is like every exchange. Like everyone is becoming the all-in-one. Every neobank, I guess we'll call it, wants to offer buys, sells. They want to offer perps. They want to offer options. They want to offer spot. They want to offer tokenized stocks. They want to offer emerging markets. They want to offer Korea. They want to offer Brazil, Argentina, every emerging market. They want to offer metals. They want to offer commodities. They want to offer a savings account. They want to offer a checkings account. They want to have a prediction market. They want to have a credit card. They don't have a debit card. They want you to bank with them. They want you to save with them. They want you to invest with them. They want you to never leave. And so anyone that has access to any exchange product is going to have access to everything all at the same time. And I think this is a development that happened like pretty fast. Everyone's the everything app. It happened pretty fast, really. And it's ironic that the big guys seem to be a little bit behind. What is this? It will only be available in eligible jurisdictions outside the United States coming soon. Yeah, it makes sense. For now. Probably just for now. But I don't know. It happened fast, man. where everyone is everything all at once. And it brings us to this retail type of discussion. I also had this combo with that same guy I told you about I met this weekend. One of the things he said is that because the world is so uncertain, nobody knows what's coming. Nobody knows when superintelligence is going to be here. Nobody knows what the economics of it are going to look like. No one knows about robots. No one knows about all of these things. The premium to be liquid right now is so high. He was telling me that he's basically fading privates entirely, fading real estate entirely, and the edge to being like an active manager is extreme. That also favors the retail traders very well. And so Gavin Baker just went on TBPN yesterday. I really want to get this guy. We should get the guy on stream, by the way. He went to TBPN and he basically just like bull posted the crypto traders trading stocks narrative really hard. There's a couple of really good clips. This is one of them.
Retail in a pejorative way. People say retail in a pejorative way, and I would just say stupid is as stupid does. And like, you know, we track, you know, there's all these indices of retail favorites, and man, they're up a lot, and they're up a lot in 25, and they're up a lot in 24. You know, so kind of stupid is as stupid does. So I'm not, you know, like I think retail is probably outperforming the overwhelming majority of professional money managers, whether they're, you know, private equity managers, venture, you know, public equity managers, whatever. So like retail, I don't think it's pejorative. People say retail in a pejorative.
That's one of them. I think this is held very true. Second one is this is the dark side of the entire world becoming crypto. This is a fun clip too. I love this clip.
In public, you know, until the bottleneck bros came along, until AI came along, there was not a lot happening in public small cap land.
Yeah.
And by the way, on this, like all these small caps, these bottlenecks, this AI, it does feel a little weird to me that you can have like a large following on social media, post.
Get ready to learn crypto KOLs, buddy.
About, you know, buy stock in something.
Yeah.
And then post about, you know, outline your thesis in a $35 million market cap company and send it up like 1,000%. And there's a lot of that going on. And by the way, this is not like a Serenity comment. I think that guy's that person is smart. But I mean, there's a lot of shady stuff happening. It feels like to me.
Sure.
Well, yeah, and
happens,
you look.
That was totally a Serenity comment.
Back at you know, you were a young analyst at Fidelity, right, during the the end of the .com cycle, and there was a lot of just like euphoria stuff happening, and in the years that followed, there was consequences, right? There were people ultimately had to face.
Sometimes civil penalties, all sorts of different things. Companies went bankrupt.
Yeah.
There were all sorts of different.
I just think the cat's out of the bag, and we're entering this era of like retail dominance, but also individual like bubble boy stocks, and like the Ansem, like the idea of like an Ansem coin is now the case amongst billion-dollar companies in the stock market. It's unreal.
Perturbations in the market, and of course we got a bunch of really enduring generational companies through that period too.
Although a lot of these accounts are anonymous, and I'm sure they're logged into social media with a made-up email.
Yeah.
You know, gone through a VPN, and so I don't know. We'll see.
It is different than a sell-side research report that maybe goes a little bit too far, but there's still a whole compliance department.
You know what's funny is like, okay, it's so, you know, you could call out the Serenities of the world or these like KOLs of the world, but then Morgan Stanley comes out and they're like, we've upgraded Micron to a price target of $2,100 just because. We just like decided to do it today. Like this price upgrade, sell side price upgrade. And it's like, what? It's like Ford is up 50% on news that Morgan Stanley says they might be useful for these nuclear energy batteries at some point in the future. Ford's up 50%. What? Just because.
Around it. We are in, uncharted territory. So everyone needs to stay safe out there and do your own research, I suppose. Figma. Figma Make is not your average vibe coding tool. It's all in Figma, making it easy to create.
Stay safe, guys. But I thought it was a couple pretty good clips from Mr. Gavin Baker. I'll read you one more, actually. I'll read you one more. Excerpt from Lord Fed on this, kind of on the same topic, but talking about why he's a bull. The mistake people make with 8K SPX is treating it like a valuation target. It's not. Valuation target is where you sit down calmly, plug in earnings, margins, multiples, the discount rate, the terminal AI productivity assumption, and whatever other nonsense that makes the spreadsheet look good. A market structure target is what happens when the price gets above a level where people have to react. The first 2% is the index getting back to the highs. The next 3% is people who thought they had time realizing they do not. The final stretch is where the options market, levered ETFs, underweight managers, short covering, systemic buyers, retail, and the quote, I'll buy the dip crowd all discover that the next dip was last week and they missed it again. That is how these moves happen. This is why I'm less interested in the obvious bear case than I probably should be. I know it. Everyone knows it. If you don't, here's the list. Bluntly put, AI is crowded. Hyperscaler CapEx is absurd. Software has a structural problem. Equity supply is rising. Token costs are falling. The IPO calendar creates funding needs. Levered ETFs and options can turn a normal wobble into a stupid candle. Warsh could say the wrong thing. Oil can rally and rates can ruin the party. Fine. All of it is true and none of it is new. If you're bearish and somehow need more material, I hope I have made your day. Pretty crazy double direction post there from Mr. Lord Fed. Stop. Is this real? Evan Spiegel announced a long-awaited Snap specs. The price tag $2,195. Like, I'm just gonna say a take on the whole like smart glasses thing. There is no price in which I'm a buyer of smart glasses ever. Like, even at $100, I'm not a buyer of smart glasses from anyone. Like, who is this product for? Ooh, that's bad. That's really bad. I'm not a buyer of it at any price of these. Let's see. I bet a good chunk of money, most of them are wearing smart glasses within 15 years. I agree in 15 years I'll be wearing them, but today I'm not. Oh, man. This is not. This is a little rough, huh? Is there a video? Yes. Okay, so they announced this 3 hours ago. I was wondering why the price chart looked like this. Look at this. They announced this 3 hours ago. Special situations. 1, 2, 3. Yep. There you go. Down 12.5% in a straight line on that. Also, the music, yeah, it was hella fucking creepy, by the way. I didn't like that at all. I don't like that sound at all. What is that? Why did they do that? Why do they make it sound like that? That's terrible. Oh. Ugh. Chat, don't lie to me. You Snapchat or no? Do you still use Snap or no? One, yeah. I actually had somebody ask me recently to add them on Snap casually. and I thought about buying a couple shares. I'm 50 on Snap. Don't ask me why. I don't want to ask you why, man. Oh my god, he did it on a keynote, bro.
Visual guidance right where you need it. And that's what gets me
Dude, $2,200 is nuts. It's more than a fucking iPhone.
excited about AI and AR together. Not intelligence trapped in a chatbot.
By the way, I agree with Nexus. 15 years, I'm all for it. The wearable stuff, but
Intelligence that can see what you see, understand what
TJ,
you're
I
trying
use
to
Be
do,
Real app
and
still.
help you in the moment. And in just the last few months, AI has dramatically changed the way developers build software. So today, we're introducing agentic development in Lens Studio.
That's fake ad clap. Yeah, this is tough. Rough. Rough. Rough, 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 rough. $2,200, bro. He does look ridiculous. What's good, Goonie? I do not see the vision on AI glasses at all. I think the tech companies are gaslighting us and think we need some new AI wearable. We do not. The phone is fine. It will be the center of AI use cases. I don't really get the glasses hype. Admit. Okay, there was another announcement today of glasses camera wearables. Apple announced a new product or a product update. Apple's reportedly planning to launch camera-equipped AirPods in late 2027. The cameras are not meant for photos or videos, but give Siri visual context about the user's surroundings. They're expected to debut alongside second-generation foldable iPhone and a 20th anniversary phone. This is lit. I think this is sick. I think that this is fucking sick. I like this a lot. I am so pro my AI assistant violating all of my data and just take it all if you can work better. I am super pro this. You can have whatever you want. You already have it. This is the fun. This is like the running gimmick. It's like, oh, you don't want to give Tim Cook your data, brother. He knows everything about you. He knows you better than you know you. He knows you could live 100 million years and he knows you better than you would know yourself. He already has it all. And so I would absolutely give all of it to my personal assistant so it works better. Also, what happened to the private AI thesis? This strengthens it, by the way. You can have both. You can absolutely have both. Both are important. Yeah, Tim Cook is leaving. I forget the new guy's name, though. You could have both. Honestly, this strengthens the private AI thesis, I think. The local AI, local hardware, run your model locally. I think it strengthens the thesis, if I'm being completely honest. Super strengthens it. It has to, right? Look up Apple PCC private cloud compute. What does that mean? Apple PCC private cloud compute. Yeah, can you, DNAP, can you ban these fucking crypto shills? Apple's private cloud compute PCC is a ground-breaking cloud intelligence infrastructure designed for private AI processing. It extends the rigorous security and privacy of on-device processing to the cloud, enabling complex Apple intelligence workloads without compromising user data. Whoa. Data is only processed to fulfill the user's request, never retained or stored, and remains inaccessible to anyone, even Apple. That's sick. No privileged runtime access. Remote servers do not have administrative backdoors or persistent access for user inputs. Verifiable transparency. Apple publishes the source code of the PCC components for security researchers and auditors to independently verify their privacy promises. Requests are scrubbed to strip away personal identifiers before processing. Man, Apple's in such a good spot. They are in such a good spot. They have so much cash too. Do whatever the fuck they want with. They have so much cash. Any new AI takes after the Olin podcast? No. I would love to watch the new one. Because if you watch the last one, they posted it right before the export controls happened. And they were pretty on the money of what was going to happen. They were pretty spot on that this was coming and comfortable about it. Impressively. And so the biggest thing I'm trying to figure out is, I think a theme for the coming decade is what is the trade if Anthropic, specifically Anthropic, gets exponentially better and more valuable, and the government hates it exponentially more and wants to regulate it exponentially more. What do you trade in that scenario? What's good, Cordy? What's the trade there? I don't know. Is it open source Chinese Minimax down today? This would have been my favorite 7% trade of all time, by the way, on Friday. I guess I'm like more like 14. Is it Minimax? Maybe. Is it Zipu? Actually, let's use a different one. Maybe. This is a good chart for it or no? No. We'll be on today for FOMC. Is tomorrow Twinem? 2513. Thank you. Why is it like? It's annoying the way it does this. Second. Oh, Knowledge Atlas. Thank you. I am long SpaceX, Cordy, and I'm pretty optimistic. It's up like what? This was Friday. If you could bought market open the next day and you got 30% of ZPU, that's pretty sick. On news that Anthropic was export controls. Now, what happens if Anthropic gets Mythos enabled again? Does this just get fucking? What happens? Crushed? I don't know. I would love for them to announce DeepSeek as public, but it doesn't feel like that's going to come anytime soon. Where's my post? Yeah, DeepSeek closed $7.4 billion in funding. They have this really weird deal structure where it's like an SPV. It's the only way you can get. Is that true, DNAP? It's like the only way you can get exposure to the new DeepSeek is like through the SPV that the CEO founder runs. Said about 5.2 being open weight. Today's a living. Interesting. It's an SPV made by the founder. Yeah, it's bizarre. It's very bizarre. So yeah, that's a question for the decade to figure out an answer to. And then last but not least, I want to watch it. Let's see.
Oh, they picked another good angle again. Oh!
That wasn't that good of a goal. Oh.
Well, Mbappe has another one out of nowhere. 3-1. Well, Mbappe has another one.
Ladies and gentlemen, this was a fucking banger stream. I'm not gonna lie, I like this setup a lot more. We can get in, we can cover important stuff, we can hit market close, we can go bang, 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 bang through every topic. We can end on an energy high rather than an energy low. And ladies and gentlemen, I got time to go in the gym right now. I got time to get to the gym right now before dinner, and we ripped 2.5 hours, and we got smarter, and we got better, and tomorrow, the second stream starts, we get to watch Kevin Warsh market close, or FOMC. I don't know how the stream keeps getting better. Do you really mean that? I thought the stream would go 5 hours. You're nuts. You're fucking out of your mind. You're fucking nuts. So every day we're gonna do 2:30 p.m. EST. That's gonna be the new time for now. Should I go to the gym in this suit? Don't worry about it. Streams are consistently getting better. Thank you, bro. We're fucking working our asses off. I've been loving the stream. Thank you, man. If you are on YouTube, Twitter, by the way, and you want to chat, twitch.tv/threadguy is where I chat. What's the story with the suit? Just like whatever. Just figured I'd roll out of bed and throw on my fucking pajamas for stream. That's all. I figured like pajamas, whatever, you know, just some casual shit. SpaceX day 2, day 3 trading. I figured I'd do, you know, whatever. Just some chill shit. YouTube only use Twitch for the stream. I love you. Just some chill shit. Whatever. So, I will catch you when I get you on CYC. Tomorrow, 2:30. FOMC, Kevin Warsh. First meeting in the big chair. I will catch you when I get you on CYC. Have a great rest of your day, little motherfuckers. Peace.